It's been a minute since we've been to Fred Lane Field, the home of the Franklin Classical School Knights, until they get their own stadium. And although it doesn't have any impact on the playoffs, it does have an impact on the players and their seniors, or how many wins they have in their final game of one of their final games of their football careers. And what better opponent than the North team, the Tennessee Heat. It's the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week. Tennessee Heat here in Franklin to face off against the Classical School Knights. We welcome you inside the broadcast booth. I'm Spencer Thompson. Glad to have you with us for another game, a doubleheader. One of the last doubleheaders we have for the year, and it's a good one tonight. Now, the last time we were here for Franklin Classical School was their game against Franklin Christian Academy 2 years ago, which, of course, we'll cover the Battle of Franklin later on this year. But the last time there were a lot higher stakes, and a three-way coin toss was forced for the playoffs with Franklin Christian Academy's win. This game, no impact on the playoffs, but that's not going to detract from the intensity you're going to see between these two teams. The Tennessee Heat, of course, everybody knows the tough stretch that they have coming up in the next several weeks with the games they are colliding with, especially trying to go for the number 3 seed in the playoffs, with Christian Community taking one of those slots. It's in between 2 and 3 is the slot the Tennessee Heat are trying to fight for. So this game could be very motivational as they're trying to go down the stretch, get as many wins as they can. Meanwhile, for Franklin Classical School, everyone knows that they're in a sort of rebuilding mode because they've had a lot of different people lost in the past years, a lot of great star power, and of course they are losing Josh Austin, according to the James Shannon Index, the best player in the league. But, of course, football is a team sport, and it doesn't come down to one player. And, unfortunately, by Classical's record, it does show it doesn't just come down to one player. And as I bring in my broadcast partner, James Shannon, he can actually do a slide in because of us being on the bleachers here. But according to the Index of World, according to you, Josh Austin is the best player in the league, but Classical is struggling. They're looking for their first. They're looking for more than just one win on the season against Bowling Green, and it's going to be tough for them, especially against this high-powered offense in the Tennessee Heat.
Well, he's been misused, in my opinion, throughout the last few games. He could be an incredible receiving threat, just somebody that you just dink and dunk, 5, 6, that just chunk it down the field. Sam Hubbard, he had a great first game there against Bowling Green, and he's kind of struggled. I'm going to say this. Spencer, why did the chicken cross the road?
To get to the other side?
To get to a game with two struggling quarterbacks. Knock, knock.
Why would the chicken go
knock,
for that
knock.
one, but who's there?
The chicken. We are at a game with two struggling quarterbacks, and guess what? Tonight is the night one of them is going to get back on track. Listen, Franklin Classical, they've been slipping, they've been sliding. They were like me at the bounce park earlier today. They have had a hard time of it. The Heat, big win against Lighthouse Christian last week. They're coming in ready to charge hell with a squirt gun. Both of these teams, this is a big win. It's a very historic rivalry series. Of course, both in the South a few years ago. They've been playing each other since 2009. Classical has won 8 of the 9 matchups. But the Heat have a chance tonight to start reversing that trend. And that's something that they need to do. They need to get this win, build a little momentum heading into the Riverside game next week, which again, that doesn't have playoff impact, but it has momentum impact. You go win this game, you go win the Riverside game, all of a sudden, you've won 3 in a row going into your matchup with South Haven. So this is a big turning point right here. Prime time Saturday night, no other games happening in the league. This is the place to be.
And as you mentioned, it's a rivalry that dates back to the beginning of the Middle Tennessee Athletic Conference. They were 2 of the founding members for the schools, especially for the Tennessee Heat with their tough games going down the stretch. What's the key for them to get past, and more so, what's the key to suppress Josh Austin?
Well, Carter Sutton's going to have a big game, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, you don't have to worry about him, but defensively, he's going to have to. Ty Whitaker, guys like that, they're going to have to. I know it's not shutting down Josh Austin, but if you pressure Sam Hubbard enough, and if Josh Austin ends up playing on the line, then you got your Carter Sutton, your Ross Scott, your Trey Worby, your Ty Whitaker, all these linemen that you've got, start wearing him out and start beating him out. He got beat up a couple weeks ago at Ezel Harding. He got beat up. They didn't play last week, but he's been beat up playing that offensive line. If they don't move him out, he's going to get worn down. So that's something that they have to work on tonight. They've got to get that figured out.
One of the longest rivalries in the Middle Tennessee Athletic Conference, and we've got it for you tonight in the second of the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week. It's the Heat and the Knights of Franklin next.
thank you for this glorious night. We thank you for all these young men on this field. We just ask that you would keep your hedge of protection around them this evening. Have them play to your glory with good sportsmanship. And we just ask this all in your son's name. Amen. Now please rise for the national anthem. So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say just that star-spangled banner and wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
You ready?
Franklin Classical will receive the first half kickoff, and what a game we have in store for us between the Heat and the Knights of Franklin. You know, we have 3 teams who take the Knights mascot for MTAC, and it's the Knights, of course, the oldest of them in MTAC. As we begin this Saturday night football game, and we will have a return by Salstrom. Salstrom has got pressure. Gets pushed to about the 15-yard line. Ball is loose, and the Knights get it.
Boy, that was close. Coughed that football up. His knee might have been down. A lot of gang tackling there on the kickoff. That's what you're going to see out of this Heat team. A lot of swarming to the ball.
So Salstrom got it in control, but then it looks like as he was being pushed back, they didn't call forward progress. The ball came loose before his knee was down. So a big turnover for the Heat early on. It looks like a big attempted turnover by the Heat. The Knights managed to keep it with forward progress being called. Here's right side Clay Lott. Gained about 7 yards on the play for 2nd and 3.
Lott, someone who's shown up who has shown up the last few weeks, but you're going to see a lot of Salstrom. You're going to see a lot of a little bit of Jonah Rorchi. I know he's playing some line also, so looks like Lott and Salstrom are going to be the 2 main backs.
Another handoff on the left. It's Salstrom, the junior, left side, flag thrown in the backfield. Gets stopped at about the 17-yard line, and of course on our end, it won't be going on the PA system tonight, but for the first time tonight, we'll hear from Ronnie Perkins, the officiating supervisor, and we'll get his call. Looks like it's a holding on the offense. Might just be microphone range. There, well, it came through just a smidge, but not enough there.
He might have forgotten to turn it on there, Spence. It
happens.
takes a little.
It
It takes a
happens.
little bit of getting used to.
This is the first game we've ever had Perkins as the head official on the crew. At least Perkins working a game that we have broadcast, and there is a left side run. Classical down to about the 25-yard line, a big 1st and 10.
Hubbard's a big guy, and it's going to be there can't be any arm tackle and none of this little, rinky-dink. Give him a hug. They're going to have to actually legitimately form tackle and just break down.
Samuel Hubbard, the sophomore, getting the play there, and big movement again for Classical as they march down the field.
Classical, of course, they're just feeling out this Heat defense, just seeing what kind of gaps they're going to get, kind of sticking with the run right now, just kind of ease into the game.
And direct snap taken by Lott. He's going to the right side, trying to get something going. Brought down by the Tennessee Heat. And
tackle by the Tennessee Heat. Looks like again about 6 there, Spence.
Don't have number 2 on the roster. Doesn't look like he's got a number on the back of his jersey like the rest of the team members. And
I think there was a sideline warning on the Heat.
Looks like the Tennessee Heat, a flag on that edge. Yep, sideline warning, so they have it for 2nd down and 5.
Of course, no other games happening across the state tonight. Kind of nice to have a break from the updates.
At least nice for you to have a break.
It's very nice.
Break from having to constantly update the Tennessee High School football app. But you could be following the scores for this game on the high school football app. And we got looks like a false start.
And we're having mic problems.
Probably just the range. Probably just the range because of the line of sight for module. Again, this bleachers here not raised up enough at Fred Lane Field. And with about 10:05 left to go in the first quarter. Second and 11. And they give it to Clay Lott once again, pushing through. Gain of about 8 yards on the play. Make it about make that a 9-yard gain for 3rd down and 3.
There's really nothing wrong with this style of offense. Just a little dink and dunk, 5, 6, 7 yards here, there, everywhere. Just get it. March it down the field. Eat the clock up. You don't have to go for a home run every 3 straight plays and then kick the ball.
There's a handoff to Sahlstrom. Sahlstrom
What a
cuts
move.
to the outside. Joshua Sahlstrom cutting through the defense. They can't wrap up and tackle. And Joshua Sahlstrom all the way to the end zone. A touchdown for the Classical
What
Knights.
a run by Sahlstrom. And he broke a sure tackler and Carter Sutton. He broke it. What a great run. So, like I said, just, here and there, they were kind of feeling this defense out, kind of seeing what they could go with, and they finally give it to the guy they call Saucy. And a great 70-yard touchdown run. And we'll have an extra point. Oh, boy, here we go.
It's your favorite, James.
Saturday night extra points. It doesn't get much better.
David Genrath, the junior, is the kicker. The holder is Hubbard. And the kick is up. Is that between the uprights? It's no good.
No
just
good.
to the outside. 6-0 with 9:04 left to go in the first. The Knights strike first. The Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week, sponsored by Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine the old-fashioned way. Jets Pizza of Springfield, Fort Campbell, and Clarksville. Let's get Jets. The Allergy Center of Franklin. Visit allergyfranklin.com. And by Joe Graves with I Hate Buying Insurance. Visit IHateBuyingInsurance.com. So Classical, after on the opening kickoff almost losing the football, luckily to be called for forward progress or down by contact, managed to get a score from there and just get a low squib kick. Picked up at about the 30-yard line. Here's a cut inside the middle. How about to the outside for the Tennessee Heat? Trying to get his number. That's Aiden Diaz to about the 40-yard line. A big move by the freshman to get it inside Knights territory.
Well, they love to use their young guys on special teams just to get them in the game, get their feet wet, get them used to action. And guys like Diaz, who is also the backup quarterback, younger brother of starting center Elijah Diaz, they can get guys like him in there and give him some action, give him a chance to see the field. And that way when they put him in, it's not a culture shock.
The Tennessee Heat are very much in the race for the MTAC playoffs at the moment, looking to get potentially that number 2 or number 3 seed, and it's a big game next week. And it looks like we've got maybe Josh Austin going offside, but likely we'll get a false start. Get the call from Perkins. And it looks like an offside on the defense. So yeah, it's just the range here. If we were a little bit higher up on the height side.
Oh well.
It's 1st and 5. There's a pitch to the outside. He'd get the first down after the 5-yard penalty. That's Trace Aldrett, the junior, managed to get a first down as the chains move along.
Yeah, who wants to watch college football tonight?
Who really does?
Me.
You know,
Me. I'm just kidding.
how did your volunteers do today, by the way?
Well, we won. We won, but we beat Chat. So
Deep toss, right side for the Heat. Can't make the connection intended for Aldrett. Incomplete.
was that Aldred or Sutton? It almost looked like he was going for Sutton.
Looked like it may have been Sutton on the distance. Regardless, an incomplete
Just over the
pass.
head.
Set that out of bounds. But, of course, the Tennessee Heat very much in contention for the playoffs. Down the stretch, they've got 2 more North games against Bowling Green and South Haven. Both of those games huge in their hopes to get into the MTAC playoffs. I believe if they get the win over Bowling Green, they clinch a playoff berth. Almost guaranteed at that point. They've got 2 weeks to prepare for that. Here, left side, immediately met by Terry Harlow.
They call him TC. He's in on the play. Great penetration there to get into the backfield.
And we've got, looks like a penalty on the field. Or, excuse me,
timeout.
That's their first charge timeout.
First charge timeout for the Tennessee Heat with about 8:14 left to go in the first. It's a timeout. Tennessee Heat inside of the 30-yard line trying to get something going and
Oh, he got him again. Goolsby's
Is that going to be a first down?
Goolsby's the master. Well, no, it won't be a first down because they're facing a 3rd and 13.
Encroachment on the defense.
So encroachment.
But it'll take it from a 3rd and 13 to about a 3rd and looks like about 7. Actually, probably closer to 7 or 8.
So another lucky break. Goolsby, quick pass, cut inside and staying on his feet. Big move there by Carter Sutton to try and stay on his feet and get a few more yards, but It's now about 4th down and 4.
Well, and we talked about Josh Austin pregame on the offensive side of the ball, but defensive side of the ball, he's not doing terrible. He's doing pretty good. The Heat have to be able to focus in Ty Whitaker, Carter Sutton, like I said, Ross Scott, Elijah Diaz. Those big linemen they have to be able to dedicate them to him to shut it down.
And Tennessee Heat trying to get something cooked up on offense here. Coach Ryan Scott facing a 4th and 4.
Well, you don't want to punt it over here, but it's just out of field goal range.
Remind me, the Tennessee Heat have a field goal kicker?
They do.
Just haven't
Oh,
used
they
him that
got
much.
him.
They got him
They
again.
got him
Is that
again.
that's a 1st down.
And you knew they were going to go for it right there, right in range. It was a possibility, and they were able to get him to jump. That classical line, they're ready to eat up Goolsby, and he knows it, and he's taking advantage of it so far here in this game.
So what was going to be a 4th down situation and potential turnover on downs is now a 1st and 10 inside of the red zone for the Tennessee Heat. First and 10 on about the 15. Scrambling is Goolsby, brought down by several Knights in the backfield, led by Josh Austin to get that sack. Now 2nd and 15.
Little miscommunication on the play. You got to be able to know where you're going, what you're doing. And he just completely he was lost. He was like Nemo.
Lost, but then found eventually. And of course,
it's going to take a big-time Dory to get to find him.
Sometimes it doesn't matter whether you're lost or not. With Josh Austin rushing against you, it's a little bit too late.
Yeah, exactly.
2nd and 15. Goolsby flags in the backfield and at the line of scrimmage. Goolsby on the left side rushes around and gets out at about the 12-yard line. We've got several pieces of dirty laundry on the field.
Well, he's a runner, and obviously he doesn't play baseball because he doesn't slide.
I wonder if we got offsetting penalties here, or we'll get the call. Ronnie Perkins again leading our crew tonight.
Holding on the offense.
So it's just a repeat of 2nd down. That's a lucky break for the Knights. What looked like it was almost a gain of 4 or 5 yards. It's loss of several.
That's a big loss for the Heat too. You go from being there down to the 15-yard line, and all of a sudden you're back to playing about a half the field.
We've seen a lot of that this weekend, and in the past several weeks. It's been second and half of the field, or almost second and a quarter of the field. As Goolsby goes to the right side, incomplete.
Just missed his man.
Just missed.
Classical able to get in there and create that pressure, and he's still one of those quarterbacks that's developing on being able to make that throw and perform under pressure. So if the Heat if Classical can keep that up, that's something he's going to struggle with all night.
Josh Hackle was the intended junior receiver for the Heat on that. As Goolsby faces a 3rd and half the field.
How about this, Spence? When most of these guys, these two teams started playing when most of these guys were in elementary school. That's how long 8-man football's been around.
Not just how long 8-man football has been around, but a lot of these guys have been in these programs since the elementary school days. As the catch is made by Tennessee Heat's number 2, cuts inside, gets to about the 9-yard line. So big game, not enough to get the 1st down, but chance to score here for the Tennessee Heat.
Well, and that was a big, perfectly executed screen pass. They were so used They were so used to eating up Goolsby's lunch. It happened again, and they were all in on it. And then all of a sudden, he was just able to dink it right behind him. And he had blockers. That offensive line executed that perfectly. So you go from a second down and
it was a third down in almost half the field.
yeah, so third down about 35. Now you're looking at fourth and about 5. I almost think you should have gone. They should go field goal here. To be honest, they're going to try to get him to jump.
Get him here. It's a run. And is that enough for the first down? It looks like it's just short. It was an attempted run by Carter Sutton, and they will send it the other way for 1st and 10 for the Knights.
That's a big stop for Classical. Like I said, if you're the Heat, I think you almost go field goal. I mean, just give it a crack. You miss it, guess what? It's
Ball
not
game's
much of a
still
difference.
tied.
There's not much of a difference between where they have the ball now and where they would have the ball on a field goal. But if you're Classical, you got to be careful though. Safety options lose room.
There's an option for Salstrom to the left side. Joshua Salstrom again, one of the star athletes for the Knights, and he stays on his feet. Can't be.
Oh, he was out of bounds.
Stays on his feet, but gets pulled out of bounds at about the 48-yard line. But
look at
Salstrom with the big play.
Look at that honesty, Spence. That was legit honesty. The dude takes off down the field. Guy catches up with him. He breaks the tackle, and then he just stops because he knows.
He may have heard a whistle on the far side from that, but stopped right when he noticed he was out of bounds. But a big gain for the Knights. Instead of safety danger, it's 1st and 10, knocking on the door of the Heat's territory.
Well, I mean, that run flipped the field. So 4:09 to go. Classical's already got a touchdown lead. They could get another one. And it looks like Ronnie Perkins is – looks like he was having a chat with one of the Heat players.
Might be something going on, or trying to keep the game under control. An interesting fact for you guys, 2 of the officials in tonight's game, David Connors and Larry Tidwell, they were at the Riverside Franklin Christian game we did last night. The white cap was Mr. Connors. So a lot of the officials pulling double duty this weekend.
Yeah, we're not the only ones that are hustling.
Now, not moving it to second down there. We'll see if Ronnie can give an explanation.
We got a holding.
So, holding offense.
I'll push them back. I mean, it's that's something you've got to avoid. If you're Classical, you've had some big plays, nice little play there, and then you give it right back up. You give up half that yardage that Salstrom just got for you.
So now 1st and 20. Just a pitch again to Clay Lott. He's got some open space, cuts inside. He's got the first down. How about a little bit more as he's stopped by the Tennessee Heat's Goolsby. Gets him stopped there, but the chains moved to the 35.
Well, Goolsby's a short tackler, and he was able to break one there. Lott was able to break one, but on the backside, I don't know about you, Spencer, but it almost looked like Hubbard was a little confused as well initially, and then he was able to get it off to, I mean, unless that's the way the play was drawn up.
It's a big run for Clay Lott, the junior for Classical. Big move as it's now another 1st and 10, but this time deeper into Heat's territory. Left side, Salstrom. Seen what he's done with the ball before. Can he do a little bit more? Has to be wrapped up, shoved down one of the Heat players as the ball's
out.
The Heat got
Heat's got it.
Heat's got a recovery on a fumble.
Looks like that was Diaz getting in on there. Spencer, tell me we got the replay.
Of course.
Yep, they're giving the ball to the Heat. Let's
So
watch.
Salstrom.
Watch Diaz, 55, on the backside. You can see the ball pop out, and he's going to jump on it right there. Bam.
Looks like Salstron's elbow may have been down prior to the ball popping out.
I wouldn't be so sure there, Spence. That's a big break for the Heat, though. That's a big play.
Big for them to get the fumble recovery and great awareness by Diaz to continue to pay attention to the play and jump on it.
He's been around so long. He was on the co-op team with HCA back in 2016, 2017.
Now
he was on that co-op team. I think it was 2016. So he's been around.
And now he's a senior and trying to lead his team for a chance at the MTAC championship. Now a gain of 3 yards in the play for the Heat.
Big tackle there by Austin. Defensive side of the ball. Let me clarify. Defensive side of the ball, he's not being misused. Offensive side, I think he is. But defensive side of the ball, he's doing what he does best. And he could get college looks as a defensive end. A little weight to put on, but he could do it.
Technically, most football players, a lot of them have some weight they could put on to get looked more at by prospects. As it goes
what a move!
Up. Big move there as Goolsby gets to almost the first down marker. It'll be just short for 3rd down and 1.
Tackle made by Ernie McKinnon, who just got cleared for this game. He's missed the first 4 games for Classical, dealing with concussion issues, and so that's big for him to be able to get back in this game and contribute for his senior year. He's a guy that's been on the team for quite a while. Just like Diaz, kind of like Diaz.
A lot of history with those 2 players as they go into their senior year and go into another first down. Tennessee Heat just pushing it through, and they'll move the chain.
Just push it forward, get that first down. That's all you got to worry about. That's all they got to do.
About 60 seconds left for the Heat to work with to try and get something going on the first quarter.
I think each team has really had a solid for a couple mistakes here and there, but I think it's a solid first quarter by both teams.
And rush up the middle, gain of about 6 yards on the play. And with 2nd and 4, that will be the second to last play.
Yeah, they'll run one more play. And on 2nd and 6, I could see him taking a shot right here. But you've got some weapons. I think you could take a shot to Hackle. You could take a shot to Sutton. There's many ways you could go with this right here.
2nd and 6 looks like it's going to be the final play of the first. And another handoff left side. And first down for Josh Hackle. Great way to end the first quarter as the Heat march down into tonight's territory.
There is a flag on the placements.
Get the announcement on the last bit there. We got some dirty laundry on the field. We'll get the call. It's a personal foul called on Tennessee Heat, and replay it there. I'm not sure if they're going to have one untimed down.
They will have an untimed down. When you saw the hand motion, him spinning his hand, that's an untimed down.
So it'll be an untimed down right before the start of the second quarter.
It's an untimed down.
2nd and 13, final play of the first quarter.
So Heat can take a shot here. Second about 13, 14. There's Sutton in motion. They're gonna throw him.
Deep toss on the left side, incomplete.
Well, they're gonna throw in his direction.
End of the second quarter. 6-0, the Knights leading over the Heat. The Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week is sponsored by Tennessee Heat Athletics. Visit TennesseeHeatSports.com. Dr. Sterling Foster. Visit drsterlingfoster.com for all your digestive issues and chiropractic needs. Chuck Miner Homes. Visit chuckminerhomes.com for the best home deals in Middle Tennessee. and by Symmetry Financial Group's Daniel Hoffmeister, safety for your family. Started the second quarter. The Knights of Classical lead the Tennessee Heat 6-0. Spencer Thompson and James Shannon bringing you this game from Fred Lane Field in Franklin, Tennessee.
It is a rivalry game, although they're not in the same division.
This is the first time we have done a game for the Classical School Knights. Of course, we were going to do that Bowling Green game here to start the season, but they did push it to Saturday, and we ended up sticking with Lancaster and the Heat.
Good first quarter. Like I said, I think it's a good first quarter for both teams. Kind of feel out. It's like a boxing match. Just kind of feel each other out.
Goolsby, deep toss right side. The catch is made. Josh Hackle gets a good reception, tries to get out his man, and there is a flag down.
Yeah, they're going to get him for a horse collar there. Either a horse collar or a face mask. Great catch and run by Hackle. Of course, Jed Mangrum closing in, making the tackle.
Now first down and 10 at about the 33-yard line. So I believe the horse collar looks like we'll likely get the horse collar.
Face mask.
Face mask.
They're going to face mask on the tackle.
Down.
See, the mic range is working. It's just because of the low height that we have down here. Now 11:45 and running down left to go in the second. One of the oldest rivalries in MTAC 8-man football because both of these schools were founding members. And back to about the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard gain, second out. Of course, again, the Tennessee Heat, right now their record in the MTAC North is 1-1. They control their own destiny for getting into the playoffs as Goolsby sneaks it into the end zone. Touchdown for the Tennessee Heat.
He's a runner. He's a runner, and the Heat are going to need him to contribute that aspect tonight. I'm not trying to jinx it, but I'm setting it up here, praying for an extra point from Schroeder.
You always hope there's an extra point. You're just a big fan of field goals.
And I got it. Boom.
So potential extra point to give the lead to the Tennessee Heat. And their kicker is Schroeder, the junior, and Hackle to hold. Let's hope this one doesn't go wide. And low.
That's through.
That's
through.
Good. The uprights. 7-6, the Tennessee Heat take the lead. The Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week is sponsored by International Fire Protection Incorporated. Life safety is our business.
Yes, sir.
Grow, Live, Give. Visit growlivegive.com. Star Physical Therapy. Your health, our hands. Choose Star. And by Kingdom.com, the ministry technology provider. extra point was good. 7-6. Knight's extra point attempt was just wide right, and the whistle's blown.
No, they weren't set up correctly.
Just trying to get the correct setup for timeout called by the Tennessee Heat there. So we look at the schedule going down the stretch for the Tennessee Heat. It's looking very interesting, of course. Next week, they've got an interdivisional game to face off against Riverside, which looked like it was at least with that game against Riverside, they faced off last year, a potential matchup of the MTAC Bowl. It was prior to the knowledge of the MTAC playoffs. Excuse me, that was a potential matchup of the MTAC Bowl game last year. But then, of course, everything came out with the Tennessee Heat getting into the playoffs for getting into the Division I playoffs for the first time in their program's history. To mine, well, actually, no, not the first time they've been in the Division I playoffs. They've been in Division II. They've been in other ones before, but potential MTAC Bowl matchup from last year between Heat and Riverside as it gets down to about the 38-yard line. But, of course, for the Tennessee Heat down the stretch, they've got Riverside at home next week on Friday night, and then they host Bowling Green on Saturday. That game very much is going to say a lot about the MTAC North standings. Of course, with South Haven taking the loss, and this next week they're playing against Bowling Green, which that's going to be another determiner of MTAC playoff seedings. Can help make or break a team's season.
We need a big drive here for Classical. You got plenty of time, though. Just take your time.
It's a lob in the backfield. Gain of about 4 yards in the play for 2nd and 6. Classical just pushing right along, trying to get something going here. Let's make that actually 2nd and 8. Time called on the field. .22 left to go in the second with another timeout called, as we'll continue to talk about the Heat schedule, James. So you look at the schedule for the Tennessee Heat I was mentioning. They, of course, have Riverside Christian, which was looking like it would be an MTAC Bowl matchup last year, but, of course, with all the news that came out about the playoffs and such, the Heat getting in, looked like it was going to be a bowl matchup. That's going to be an interesting match. And then their game against Bowling Green Christian on Saturday the 28th. That's going to be a huge determiner of potentially who's going to be the number 3 seed in the MTAC North. Yeah,
it's going to be a big matchup, one that I'm looking forward to seeing. A lot of talent on both sides of the ball, and you're two good coaches too.
And then you continue with the Tennessee Heat. They play South Haven Christian, which if the Tennessee Heat wins against Bowling Green and South Haven, they're number 2 seed in the North. Should be a really impactful moment for them as it's tossed on the right side and cut back inside. Big play by Classical.
That's how you use Josh Austin.
Very much so.
He is a powerful, powerful runner when he has the ball in his hands out in the field.
As you see the replay here, it's just a toss on the right side and the catch made. Big moment by Josh Austin. Now about 10 minutes left to go in the second. First down and 10. Ball's on the 44-yard line. Run left side, Sahlstrom. Sahlstrom trying to weave through the defense. He's managing to do just that. Gets a gain of 8 yards on the play for 2nd and 2. Classical Knights continuing to push down their new head coach, Matthew Herrera, stepped into the program this year.
2nd and 8.
took over as head coach. I believe the only new head coach in 8-man football other than Dustin McGee, with the team moving to 8-man. Coach Matthew Herrera has led this team to at least one W on the season against the Bowling Green Christian Academy Warriors, but taking tough loss to Riverside and Ezel. This is their first game back after a bye week. And high snap, the ball is loose, falling on at about the 47, 46-yard line. And now second down and 20. Second down. Excuse me, now third down and 20. Another high snap, 2 in a row. Salstrom falls on it back at the, looks like about the 31-yard line, so make that 4th and long. So what looked like it was going to be a decent offensive drive for the Classical Knights has turned into a punt away situation and decent field advantage for the Tennessee Heat. Just an unfortunate mishap for Classical, and it's going to be punted away. Picked up at about the 31-yard line. Here goes Josh Hackle. Josh Hackle, the returner, tiptoeing the sideline, gets stopped at about the, and there's a, looks like maybe a flag thrown on the field. Looked like a piece missing. There is a flag down at a return. We'll see if we can get the call from Mr. Perkins. Illegal block in the back called on the Heat. Moving that forward for a first down. So now 7:37 left to go before halftime. And the Tennessee Heat on 1st and 10, right on the 50, trying to increase their lead against the Knights. Josh Austin on that defensive line. It's the right side. Wrap up and tackle by Clay Lott. The Heat could not get anything going on offense there. Attempted rush by Tennessee Heat's Carter Sutton. Now about second down and 12. Again, Coach Mr. Ronnie Perkins leading the crew and also the officiating coordinator for the Tennessee Mid-State Officials Association, the primary officiating organization for MTAC. Run on the left side by Trace Aldred. He's got open space, gets down to about the 35-yard line, gets out of bounds. Big 1st and 10, and the chains will move. So with them getting out of bounds, they spot the ball. It looks like about the 37-yard line, 1st and 10, as the Heat continue to push it down the field. First and 10. Goolsby looking for the right side for an option. It's tossing it, goes out of bounds. And there's a flag in the backfield by the head official. May have been likely a late hit or unnecessary roughness.
Yeah, but he got rid of the football, though.
Just waiting for Mr. Perkins to give us the ruling, and we'll get the call.
Intentional grounding, number 14 of the
Intentional
offense.
grounding.
5 yard.
Intentional grounding called on Goolsby, and it's a loss of down.
Loss of down.
So they move it back. It'll be 2nd down and 15. So thrown for grounding. He did have a discussion with one of the other officials to make sure it was intentional grounding. So good confirmation made by the officials. Here's Goolsby. Scrambles right side, gets brought down, gain of about a yard or two on the play for 3rd down. It's about 3rd down and 13 as the clock continues to run down. Tennessee Heat have had their fair share of struggles this season after hosting the Lancaster Knights, a loss of 50-0, traveling down to Freedom, Alabama, and having a tough loss there. Of course, playing against the Ezell Harding Eagles in Antioch. Then at CCS, they managed to get their first win of the season against Lighthouse in a close one, looking for their 2nd win of the season against the Classical Knights here in Franklin. Toss incomplete. Pass intended, and it looks like we may have a Heat player injured. And manages to get back up. It was Carter Sutton who was slow to get up. Now 5:40 left to go in the 2nd. And time called on the field. Timeout for Classical, the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week, brought to you by Kingdom.com, the ministry technology provider. Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine the old-fashioned way. Jets Pizza of Springfield, Fort Campbell, and Clarksville. Let's get Jets. And by Star Physical Therapy, your health, our hands. Choose Star. 5:40 left to go in the 2nd. The Heat trying to march down the field. Goolsby gets stuffed in the backfield. Brought down by Josh Austin for a sack, and on 4th down, it's a turnover on downs. The Classical School Knights get it done. 5:36 left to go in the 1st half, and big play made. Just want to let everybody know that James Shannon will be stepping aside for the rest of the broadcast. He's got a family emergency to deal with, but I'll be manning the fort here in Franklin, Tennessee at Fred Lane Field. Did that once before a game between Lighthouse Christian School and the Sacred Heart Knights, the first 8-man extreme game ever called. If you haven't heard about that, Extreme Talk, listen to the episode that myself and James Shannon did a few weeks ago. It's right here on our YouTube channel. You're already here, so you can just go to the channel and look under the Extreme Talk episodes. You'll find it there and hear about the many conversations we have about reminiscing. In short time we've known each other. Many more memories probably going to be made. Here's Salstrom. Gain of about 3 yards on the play for 3rd down and 4. As the clock continues to run down, under 5 minutes left to go in the 2nd quarter. So now about 3rd down and 4 as the Knights are trying to keep things going. Scramble, right side toss. The catch is made by Josh Austin. Big play for Austin there as they move the chains and go and try to get into the inner depths of the Heat's territory. As you can see the replay on here, just a big move by Josh Austin as the clock continues to run. You just look at this play here, Josh Austin on the option on the right side. He had good coverage by Carter Sutton almost, but it's just a perfectly weaved pass. Here's 1st and 10, handoff, left side, Sahlstrom. Sahlstrom getting on the outside, tiptoeing the sideline, cuts back in. Finally brought down by Nathaniel Henry of the Heat. Clock stopped, but another big play by Classical. Sahlstrom with the big gain going to the left side, and just a big run there. Managed to tiptoe the sideline and get back in. So now on about 1st and 10, just shy of the goal line for the 1st down, and left side rush attempted by Hubbard. About 3 minutes left to go in the 2nd. About 2nd down and 8, under 3 minutes left to go in the 2nd here as the Knights are knocking on the door of a touchdown to potentially take the lead going into the halftime locker room. Option toss into the end zone, incomplete. Just a mess of offensive and defensive players in the middle. Looked like it was intended. Looked like it was intended for Austin, maybe. Only about 150 seconds left to go before halftime. Timeout called by Classical with 2:30 left to go in the 1st half. That's your shameless self-promotion there, Mr. Thanks again to Mr. Goolsby for operating our camera with James Shannon stepping aside. Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week, sponsored by Tennessee Heat Athletics. Visit TennesseeHeatSports.com. Dr. Sterling Foster, visit drsterlingfoster.com for all your digestive issues and chiropractic needs. Chuck Miner Homes, visit chuckminerhomes.com for the best home deals in Middle Tennessee. And by Symmetry Financial Group's Daniel Hoffmeister, safety for your family. There's 2.5 left to go before both teams regroup and try to figure out the game plan going forward. Direct snap. It's going over to Lott. Here's Clay Lott to the end zone. Touchdown for Classical. But there is a flag down. We'll get the call from Perkins and see if it's a touchdown. It's holding on the offense. They're going to bring it back.
Holding on the offense.
2:19, and what looked like it was going to be a touchdown is now a 3rd and 20 for Classical.
Third down and 20.
Hubbard, deep toss left side for the end zone, incomplete. Looked like the pass was intended for Mangrum, coverage by, looked like Carter Sutton with the coverage. So now a 4th down and 20 for Classical. They're trying to get another score here. But the big question is, do you run it to the outside here? Do you give it to Clay Lott and try to get him back inside, or try and toss it into the end zone again? Here's the 4th down attempt. 4th and 20, hoping for a defensive penalty. Hubbard scrambles right side. The catch is made, but gets into the end zone. Touchdown! Joshua Solstrom with the big play, and the Knights take the lead. So just look to the right side here. Samuel Hubbard scrambling, managed to avoid the defense there. Catch made, and just couldn't wrap up a tackle and force him out of bounds, but a big play for the Knights as they are looking to take the lead going into halftime. But another 6 points on the board, and they'll see if they can make it a 13-7 game. Kick and go, does not even get high enough to the upright. So with 1:54 left to go in the second, it's a 12-7 game. See if the Heat can respond going into halftime. The Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week, sponsored by International Fire Protection Incorporated. Life safety is our business. In the words of James Shannon, yes, sir. Grow, Live, Give. Visit growlivegive.com. The Allergy Center of Franklin. Visit allergyfranklin.com. And Joe Graves with I Hate Buying Insurance. Visit IHateBuyingInsurance.com. $154 left to go before halftime. The Star Physical Therapy halftime report coming up. James Shannon is back, so we will.
Call me a man in black. I'm back.
We will give you a highlight of the first half. As the attempted onside kick, it's not going to go 10 yards.
I remember an onside kick like that by the Pittsburgh Steelers. That might have it beat.
So they'll stop it at about the 47-yard line. So it looks like they'll just cease it there. And 1st and 10 for the Heat. Great field advantage for them as they are going to try to march it down the field and take the lead going into halftime.
Well, they gotta do it here. It's now or never. Get the extra point, or score. Get the extra point. Take that 2-point lead, and put the pressure on Classical. Of course, the Heat get the ball after halftime, if I'm correct.
Yep.
Which I am. But they get the ball after halftime, so that'd be big.
So now 1st and 10. We'll see if the Heat can do something with under 120 seconds. Goolsby left side. Sutton with the catch. Gain of 2 yards on the play. Doesn't help him that much to try and drive down the field, but better than no gain.
I've actually been really impressed so far. I know Goolsby and Hubbard have both struggled, but really neither one is losing the game for this for their team. They're keeping it under control, and there's guys who are stepping up and making plays.
Sutton gets the catch, tries to push through.
Like Josh Austin right there.
Austin getting the loss, helping with the loss of yards. It's now about 3rd down and 8, maybe 3rd down and 7.
When you saw him get all the way over there and make the stop, and that just shows you how athletic he is to be able to be all over the field. Start from a defensive line position, but get all over the field.
3rd down. Motion. And another high snap. Flag is thrown as Goolsby tries to fall on it, but the Knights pick it up. Josh Austin gets the ball. There's a penalty, but right now it's a defensive recovery for a touchdown. We'll see if
And
we can get the call
I'm
from
curious
Perkins.
on the call. I'm curious as what the call could be.
We'll see.
And if that call's on the Heat, that is huge.
It's huge going
Josh
into halftime.
Austin. It's a touchdown. It's
And
standing.
Yeah, he's Perkins motioning for the players to go towards the end zone. Illegal shift by the offense, so it's a touchdown.
Josh Austin, the fumble recovery, and Franklin Classical right back into the ball game.
And they got the fumble right there, and beautiful
Just a
replay.
scoop and score. Great heads-up play. Let's see what they can do here on the extra point.
They've missed 2 of their extra points. They trusted their kicker, but both times it's gone right. It's gone to the right of the uprights.
They're just going to stick with the old tried and true here.
And 2-point conversion is no good. 38 seconds left before we get into halftime, and the Tennessee Heat down by 11. So just 38 seconds for the Heat to try and work with before going into halftime. And the Tennessee Heat trying to get something going before halftime. Picked up immediately by Aiden Diaz, weaving through. Aiden Diaz gets stopped at about the 43-yard line. And that'll shave off about 7 seconds on the clock. Down to 31 for the Heat to work with. Not sure how many timeouts they have, but not a whole lot of time to work with to try and march it down the field and score.
Well, and it doesn't matter timeouts because you don't need to be worrying about clock management with 31 seconds. You need to be worried about putting that ball in the daggum end zone and you know, closing this gap up.
Now 1st and 10 on the 41-yard line. The Tennessee Heat down by 11.
Guys like Sutton and Hackle, you got to step up here.
Goolsby across the middle, incomplete.
What a great play. What a great read by Lott. Screen pass, the screen pass was executed perfectly by the Heat. They just didn't anticipate Lott coming across the middle and just nailing the receiver. Heat have a ways to go. 25 seconds. You got to score here. You score here. You bring it back to a 1 score, and then you get the ball after halftime. It's pretty elementary, Watson. Elementary.
It's now on 2nd and 10. 25 seconds left. There's Goolsby. Toss across the middle. Incomplete. There's a flag in the backfield.
That's going to be a rough in the passer. He was hit as he threw. He was being chased down, and he was hit as he threw. I think we're going to get a roughing the passer here. Yep. That's a big
exactly
break for the
right.
Heat.
Penalty. First down.
That's a massive break for the Heat with 19 seconds. That's going to really drive the ball back. I've been interested to see who the call was on. Maybe Josh Austin.
They move it forward, so that's at least
a huge get. You look at where the ball would have been, 45-yard line. Maybe actually probably closer to the 40. Now you're down closer to their 40. You can take some legitimate shots here with essentially 20 seconds to go.
Tennessee
You got to go deep to Hackle here.
Tennessee Heat trying to get to the inner depths of the Knights' territory. 19 seconds. Toss left side. Catch is made. Carter Sutton. Who better than Carter Sutton have 3 men blocking? Is he going to get to the end zone? Chased down by one more Knight. Finally brought down at about the 5-yard line. Carter Sutton is down. A little bit slow to get up.
Well, they've got to stop the clock to set the
5-yard line.
chains.
I don't believe they have a timeout either, so they got to try and spike it with
You got to
6
get your guys
seconds.
set. Get your guys set.
It's about 5 seconds left. And
They're
going to
get it.
spiked at time?
They're going to get it
with
spiked.
1
You got one
second.
play. Well, and they didn't have to set the chains necessarily. They didn't have to set the chains. Just get that first down marker in place. But great leadership by Goolsby, getting everybody set down, getting them settled, not drawing any shifts or illegal formation penalties.
Now, that's interesting. The Tennessee Heat have a timeout, and they used it there. Why didn't they take the timeout to get a few more seconds there is the question.
Because there's no need to. When you can get down and spike the ball, I mean, it's all, it's not like you need a whole bunch of – you're only going to get one play. It doesn't matter if you have 3, 4, 5 seconds or 1 second. You're only going to get one play.
I mean, that's true, but why take the timeout after spiking the ball? Because it already stopped the clock on that anyway. It's an interesting.
Well, do
interesting
you have,
thing to
do
learn.
you have a straight shot to Coach Scott? No.
We probably
So,
should get a. We probably should.
I
get
wouldn't
some mics
argue
to the
with it.
coaches at some point. That's what you've been vouching for a while.
I have been vouching to mic up the coaches and do a mic'd up thing. I have been vouching for it. I've also vouched for GoPros on players, but
Oh no, Ronnie Perkins shot that one down.
kind of futuristic.
No, Ronnie Perkins straight up shot that one down because of the.
No, it's
NFHS
futuristic.
rulebook. It is. I'm not denying that. I just know it's been shot down.
One play right here, Spence, and you got to go with the big guy, Ty Whitaker. You got to give him the ball. Let him punch it up the middle. Josh Austin's on the outside at the end. They should have had him in the middle. He's going to punch it straight up on a QB keeper.
And
Maybe not.
toss to the left side.
Oh, he
incomplete.
overthrew him.
Overthrew Elijah Diaz. So going into halftime, it's 18-7. The Knights lead at home over the Tennessee Heat. Star Physical Therapy halftime report is coming up in just a moment. You're watching thekingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week. Welcome to the Star Physical Therapy halftime report, everybody. I'm Spencer Thompson alongside James Shannon, and the score right now 18-7. The Knights lead at home at the half, and it's kind of a score that you would expect with the best, according to James Shannon, it's the best player in the league on the Classical School Knights. But the Heat looks like they arguably have more weapons. It's just simple mistakes are why they're down by 11.
Yeah, the biggest thing is you have to I don't think the quarterbacks have really lost the game or have made the mistakes. They're just kind of managing it. They're doing what they need to do. Hubbard's already got a touchdown throw. Goolsby's run for a touchdown, so they're contributing. But they need other guys to step up. And, Josh Austin, 50-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown. Just a great heads-up play to get in there. Everyone has shown up. I don't think either team's really had a bad first, second half. I think the Heat could have, had a little bit better control on that drive right there at the end. And they could have tried to punch it in. But that doesn't work out. But you still get the ball after halftime. A very quick first quarter, just eating a lot of clock, and that's what these teams need to come out here in the second half and do as well.
Classical's game plan to hold their lead. I probably should have phrased that in a question, but what's Classical's game plan to hold their lead?
Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense now. Honestly, just keep doing what, just run the ball. Just run the clock out. It's like I said, just run the clock out. Run the ball. Wrap it up. Go home with another win, with a second win. They haven't won since the first game of the year. This is your chance to do it right here.
Classical's chance to do it on an interdivisional game. We'll be back in about 10 minutes for the start of the second half. You're watching the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week. Start of the third quarter, 18-7. The Knights lead at home by 11 over the Tennessee Heat. Spencer Tomset and James Shannon.
Did you forget my name there for a second, Spence?
No, I was just a little bit fogged
Remember
up in the
the
mind
name.
on that. Remember the name, Biggie Cheese. Big game here from
Don't
Fred
ever
Lane
do that again.
Field. Big game here from Fred Lane Fields. The clock is winding down at about 2.5 minutes.
I think they were intending for the teams to have a 3-minute warm-up period.
And the referees are coming back on the field, so that's what they're
Of course,
waiting
Ronnie
on.
Perkins is the referee tonight. He's very by the book, which is what's supposed to happen. You have your halftime, and then you have a 3-minute warm-up period.
To my knowledge, I believe the coaches do have the option for the warm-up periods or not, or if they want to just get right into the game. But
Well, someone optioned for it.
so with about 2 minutes left to go, it's about 2 minutes left to go on the clock. So it's about a minute 50.
Well, whoever it is, he's back to return. Getting Gabe Hager. And we're number 2 for the Heat.
Yeah, we finally got the number on that with Gabe Hager is number 2 for Tennessee Heat.
So
Managed to get that at halftime.
we just got to burn another minute.
Of course.
You know what we can do there in that minute, Spencer? We can tell you about the best 8-man football show in the country. It's Extreme Radio every Sunday, 4 p.m.
You're going to make
Catch it
some
right
people
here
mad
on
with
our
that.
YouTube channel. I really don't care because it is the best. Right there on our YouTube channel. Of course, follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you're not subscribed on YouTube.
And no bias with claiming that, right? No
Claiming
bias.
what?
No bias whatsoever with saying it's the best show, right?
No, all the bias.
Of course.
Every bit of bias.
At least you're
It
honest.
is the best
You're
show.
honest.
But you need to subscribe and get the bell on. You'll know when we go live.
Very easy to subscribe.
And guess what? You'll know when we go live next Friday for what game, Spencer? Oh, wait.
You have to
Gotta
tune in
You got to tune
tomorrow.
in to Extreme Radio to find
Gotta
out.
get the bell on to know.
There you go. Well, we
We've had
kill
a-
another 13 seconds. How about that?
We've had a great weekend of games. Of course, tomorrow
Can't really have a good shot of that moon.
not a blood moon tonight as it was out in Fayetteville last night, but it's a
It was
full
Friday
moon
the
now.
13th yesterday, which is still better than Monday the whatever.
You got a valid point with that. We'll go over the playoff picture tomorrow as well, since things are starting to be more solidified as we're halfway through September. Of course, with a lot of the division games occurring earlier in the season than later, a lot of things have been determined at this point, especially with the number 1 seed in the North.
That's a solid kick right there. I don't like squib kicks, but it's a solid kick, solid catch, good start, especially for the Heat. Up at the about the 43-yard line. Of course, field only striped every 10 yards. Kind of weird.
First
Weird
and
flex,
10.
but okay.
First and 10 with great field advantage for the Tennessee Heat. They're trying to get something going on offense coming out of halftime. And
Again, Goolsby scored the only touchdown for the Heat on a run. He's going to be the catalyst here and how he uses Carter Sutton, who's in motion now.
hands it off to Sutton, and it's an attempted double reversal. It didn't work on that with Josh Hackle getting a loss of about 3 yards in the backfield for 2nd and 13.
Senior T.C. Harlow, who's been around the team for quite a while, in on the tackle. He sniffed it out. He's seen those plays before. He knows what's coming.
And again, Coach Matthew Herrera, this is his first year head coach for Classical, where Seth Witherington had the reins of that for the last several years. Essentially, as some refer to him, the OG of 8-man football coaching, especially with leading Classical to 3 straight MTAC championships back in that 09 to 011 stretch. Goolsby. Toss right side. He's got the reception by Josh Hackle. Cuts to the outside. Touchdown for the Heat, and just the kind of motivation they needed.
Told you, it was all about how he was going to use Hackle and Sutton. Sutton, they motion him in. They use him to bring protection. He rolls to the right just to buy a second. Finds Hackle, who gets behind, looked like both Sahlstrom and Mangrum. Yeah, Sahlstrom and Mangrum. Mangrum and Lott. Able to get behind him, nail his man. Great over the shoulder, dropped it into his hands. Hackle with the move to get outside. That's what the Heat needed here. And we're gonna get my favorite play of all time, Spence.
You're going to get a field goal attempt.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
And the kick,
Oh,
it's hit
good.
Inside. It hit the crossbar, but managed to get in there.
It was a doink kick, but a doink the right way.
4-point difference. The Heat are right back in the mix. The Knights still lead at home.
Well, Spence, this definitely is not a shootout like we had last week when the Heat played Lighthouse. This is going to be a grinded-out game unless these offenses open up here in the second half.
That's Clay Lott taking the ball to about the 43-yard line, and we'll see what the Knights can do on offense.
You know, even with Classical having the lead, the pressure is right back on Hubbard because you saw Goolsby put that throw on a rope. Great, just drop it in over the shoulder. The pressure's back on Hubbard. How will he answer? How will he lead his team to answer? That remains to be seen. It looks like Josh Austin is going to end up being the left guard, I believe. Unless they're going to move him out and start throwing the ball to him, which they need to do. Nope.
Looks like they won't move him out as Lott tries to push through, gets a gain of 3, 2nd and 7.
Well, and if you're Classical, again, you just want to slow down, run the ball, run the clock, not give up a big play with minimal amount of time off the, minimal amount of time burned.
So now 2nd down and 7. Blitz incoming. Toss right side. Sahlstrom can't make the one-handed catch. Incomplete.
Just over his hands, and that brings up a 3rd down, Spence. This is a big 3rd down and 8.
Even early on in the 3rd quarter, it's a big statement for the Tennessee Heat defense if they can get a stop.
If Classical cannot pick up at least 5 yards on this, I think you punt it away. If they have a punter, but you punt it away, you put it deep in the Heat zone. Maybe even try to kick it out of bounds.
Kick it deep.
And make the Heat and sorry, Smith, but make the.
So it's still 3rd down, ineligible receiver downfield.
Well, that was Josh Austin, and I wasn't sure if he had been on the line as an offensive lineman and gotten loose, or if he was an end. He was an offensive lineman too far down the field. They're going to call him for it, but of course you decline it, and that way it stays at 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7 right here.
3rd down. And just immediately met by the Heat defense. Samuel Hubbard couldn't get anything going, a loss of 5.
That Heat defense looked at me at Thanksgiving. They just swallowed them up, man. And I think you punt it away here.
It's likely on the 40-yard line. It's a likely option, but depends on what kind of
Yeah, here comes their punter. It's going to be
in.
number 9, David Genrath, guy who handles their kicking for him. And back deep to return for the Heat.
It's not really
that's
deep to return.
I don't think he's anticipating a whole lot, but I think it's Hackle.
Josh Hackle.
Yep.
Tries to take the return.
Oh, man.
Could have been risky there if Jed Mangrum had a few more steps closer.
Good heads up, though, to be able to recover on it recover on himself and not cost the Heat the ball deep in their territory, deep in their own zone. This is a big drive right here. Here's your ball game. I mean, for real, though. Here's your ball game. Classical scores, you take a two-score lead, and, you got to wonder mentally if the Heat can come back from it. Heat score here, you're going to, it's going to continue to be a back and forth.
We've seen several times when the Tennessee Heat have played that regardless of what the deficit is for them, that they have always continued to fight back. We saw that last year when they played Christian Community at home as the ball comes loose. And is it recovered by Classical? Waiting for the rule on the field.
Yep.
It is.
They're saying Classical got it.
See, we'll get the back end of this replay here, but big play there for Classical. You mentioned here's your ball game. This might be a tide turner.
Yep, stripped the ball out right there. Ball popped out. That's big for that defense. And do that replay one more time, Spence. Let's see if we can tell who stripped the ball out.
Might need a better camera angle for it to zoom in on the pile, but
I think it was Lott. I think Lott got in there and stripped it loose. Speaking of, well, no, that's not Lott.
That's Salstrom. Salstrom on the left side. Trying to push through, and I believe he gets out of bounds to shave 10 seconds off the clock.
That's a big, big defensive play, obviously.
Any defensive play is big if they make a stop.
That's true. That's a good thought, Spencer. That's a very deep thought. I didn't think about that.
I don't need to be a football analyst to know that.
Wow. Okay. All right. Trying to give you a little compliment there, Spence, but whatever.
High snap, but picked up by Hubbard. Deep toss on the right side. Salstrom can't make the catch. Incomplete.
What a breakup there.
Gabe Hager with the coverage on that.
There's great legal coverage, too. Great legal cover breakup. That could have ended up going very, very wrong. Of course, it's going to bring up your second down.
Classical on about the 25-yard line faces a 3rd down and 3. And this is another one of those moments where, as the Heat defense, you have to make a stop here. Left side, Salstrom. Looks like he got past the 1st down marker. He's still spinning out tackles inside of the red zone at about the 18, 17-yard line.
That 1st down.
Another movement of the chains.
That's a big run from Salstrom. Of course, Salstrom only a junior, so he's still got his senior year to go. But ever since really his freshman year, he's been showing up, making plays. Older brother Ben, 1,000-yard rusher back in 2015 for the Knights. Collided with Cole Warren's fantastic sophomore year. Barely lost to CCS in the championship, or in the playoffs, rather.
Barely lost to him. Scramble, right side, toss intended for Austin, incomplete.
Had him wide open. You put it on his numbers, that's 6. Hubbard couldn't convert it. You cannot throw away this opportunity right here. Classical could really, really put a dagger back in the Heat if they could score here. Looks like Austin cramping up a little bit on the sidelines, as you can see through our shot.
Josh getting
not the highest stands.
out.
Not the highest stands we've been in this year, Spence.
No.
Not the highest setup. Not a bad setup though.
It's not terrible.
No.
Fans engaged on both sides. We're in the Classical section, other side, the Tennessee Heat. We'll probably get a shot of that later for you. Salstrom tries to slip through. Gain of 2 yards in the play for 2nd and 8. In terms of incline, this is the lowest setup that will be at on the season. Lowest setup we'll be at on the season according to our current broadcast schedule. And
I don't know, just something about that higher.
The only one lower than this is when we're in the back of a pickup truck whenever we broadcast at Bowling Green Christian.
It's very true.
It's because that one's pretty level off the ground. Deep toss in the middle, almost intercepted by Carter Sutton. Intended for Clay Lott. Dangerous play.
Well, and great coverage, too. Very good job being careful about not picking up the defensive pass interference. That was huge. You got a 4th down now.
You see, you have a choice to make here as Classical. You know, they haven't made an extra point this game. They could adhere to the James Shannon wishes and try a field goal.
No, it's too far from here. I don't think you make it from here.
Especially with not being able to make any extra points.
Yeah, you got to take the shot here.
4th down. Could very well make or break the game.
It'd be very disappointing if they mess this up.
Scramble. Sahlstrom trying to get something going. Toss on the right side to nobody.
Wow.
Toss to nobody in the end zone.
Throwing to the boogeyman back there in the dark side of the end zone. But that's crazy. You get the ball at the place that you do. And 4 downs up, 4 downs down. Heat get the ball back. That's a huge break by the Heat. Great defensive play, too, on a couple of those passes to break them up and not draw pass interference.
Huge break for them with 7:30 left to
go in the
third.
You got to wonder, too, Spencer, with Josh Austin on the sidelines trying to stretch out a cramp, how much that affected the play calling and what they were able to do with that short range.
Well, I mean, with the James Shannon index, he's the best player in the conference. So, I mean, I would
Has he not played like it tonight?
I would imagine for you. I mean, they're up by 4. Run on the right side, it looks like by Sutton.
Yeah, but how many of those 4 has been? How many of those 2 Heat touchdowns have been his fault? None.
Probably not that much, and
None.
a loss of a yard.
Negative, Ghost Rider.
2nd and 11.
If you're the Heat, you're good. 7 minutes. Calm down. Still score, but calm down. And if you get to a 4th down, for the love of all that's holy, punt the ball. Seriously. Don't try to be a hero.
Don't try to take any risky moves early on. Loss of a yard on the last play as Goolsby pitches it out. It's Trace Aldred, left side.
Aldred just too quick for Whitaker, who was his lead blocker. Whitaker couldn't get out of his own way, and Aldred wasn't able to utilize the blocking entirely. Still a good run, though. Still put him in within dangerous striking distance.
On a 3rd and 5 on the 20-yard line, it's dangerous. And again, defensive plays like this are what make or break a football game. 6 minutes left to go in the 3rd. Big offensive stand here for Tennessee Heat. Goolsby looks for the pass, right side, intercepted!
He underthrew it.
Underthrew the pass, and that's Sahlstrom. Who better than him to cut through the defense? Is a pick 6 in his future? No. Just short of the goal line, but a big play for the Knights as they're trying to take the lead.
I want to see who hit him, because as Goolsby released that throw, he was hit, and it slowed down the velocity on the ball. Josh Austin. How about that, Spence? How about that?
Making big plays.
Running into the quarterback, slowing down the velocity on the throw, and it affected it. And, of course, Josh Sahlstrom, always ready, always opportunistic, there with the interception. Almost the pick 6.
It's just something about football genes running in the family. We see it through plenty of families within other schools.
The genes are getting better, especially with the Austin family.
You don't want to insult the assistant coach like that.
Watch me.
What?
I will. I just did. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah,
not a thing.
The moment that Isaiah watches this broadcast in the offseason, you'll probably get a scathing phone call.
I'll go down to the field and tell him myself. Because I can. Give the guy a hard time. On the other hand, though, his brother has been healthier than Isaiah has been. Isaiah struggled with injuries, so that
is true.
that contributes to it.
A torn labrum surgery he had to have after high school.
They're not going to go touchdown here. It's second down.
Second down.
Quick snap.
Here's Clay Lott trying to drive inside.
No, they stopped him.
And short.
They stuffed him. This Heat defense is made for a goal line stand. You cannot be running the ball inside on this team.
No, they're keeping it a heavy stead.
We're going to get a timeout.
And timeout called on the field. Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week. Sponsored by Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine the old-fashioned way. Jets Pizza of Springfield, Fort Campbell, and Clarksville. Let's get Jets. The Allergy Center of Franklin. Visit allergyfranklin.com. And by Joe Graves with I Hate Buying Insurance. Visit IHateBuyingInsurance.com. .431 left to go in the third as the Knights are trying to punch it in on 3rd and goal.
Oh, they got him. They'll get an extra 3 inches out of this one. Wow.
They move it back.
Well, and it could be a blessing in disguise for Classical. Back it up. Give yourself a little more room to maneuver. Doesn't cost you a down. If you're the Heat, you can't just go into a goal line defense. You've got to allow for the pass here.
It's back at the 10-yard line. It's more difficult to punch it in to the end zone on the 10 compared to the 5. We'll see if the Heat can make a goal line stand here. 3rd and goal. Toss, Hubbard, diving catch, did not make it. Touchdown.
They're going to give it to him. What a catch. What a catch for Lott. I want to see if it hit the ground because that was close.
Maybe we'll be able to tell Perkins we can do instant replay on that.
Nope, he got it. He got his arms under it.
Close one there.
All right, let's set it up here. Let's set it up. Boom. Perfect. Nope. A little bit. Okay, right there. Bam. Perfect angle.
Perfect angle for the PAT. At least as of now throughout the game, Genrath is 0 for 2 on extra points, both of them going wide right. Make that
he got it.
33% on his PATs. 25-14, the Knights lead by 11. About 4:30 left to go in the third. And an onside kick not attempted and looked like it was through the hands of Hager, but gets the ball picked up. Gabe Hager weaving through the defense. Gabe Hager, are we going to see a kickoff return for a touchdown?
What a stiff arm.
Holy moly! Are you kidding me? Looks like a freshman making that kickoff return, and that's the spark the Tennessee Heat needed.
He told Jenrath to sit down. What a return.
Just amazing coverage by his teammates and the stiff arm.
We do have a flag, though, Spence.
The stiff arm on Jenrath, and it's
flag
on the
is
return
on the
team,
Heat.
so it's not a touchdown.
Man.
Flag
I'd
down.
love to see where the flag was at.
May have been a block in the back.
Yeah, it may have been. May come in on the backside of the return.
We see those kind of things all the time on kickoffs. When you see a return like that, they're usually you have to look for a block in the back or holding.
All right, you know what wasn't a penalty? That man-sized stiff arm.
That was still amazing.
There's a lot of athletic kickers out there who can make a tackle. That ain't one of them, Chief.
So they place the ball at the spot of the foul, which is about the 40-yard line. And the Heat, that might be the spark they needed to try and march down the field and get an actual score here. Here's the left side. Another reversal. Carter Sutton can't be brought down by the Knights. He's getting to the outside. How about a little bit more?
Boy,
Carter Sutton all the way. Touchdown, Tennessee Heat.
Boy, they pulled that one off beautifully. They thought they had hackled dead to rights in the backfield, and he just slipped it to him. Last second. Boom, right there. They had hackled dead in the backfield, and Sutton reverses the field, just speed, gets around the corner, down the sideline.
All the way and down by 5. It's an interesting
Well, you're going to go
question.
extra. You're going to go extra point here, make it 4 if Schroeder can make it.
Schroeder
Or Spencer, go for 2
conversion.
and get it, be down by 3,
and you give one of your
and be in a
field
position
goals.
where Schroeder can kick a field goal to tie it.
At least you hope you get in that position to tie it up. Because the Heat produced an overtime game last year against the St. Andrew Swanee Mountain Lions, which is the first time we've had that in close to a decade.
No, there was one back in like 2014 or something like that.
Still a 4-year
So
separation.
we'll get a
from it.
timeout here. I think they go for 2.
Probably see a 2-point conversion attempted from the Tennessee Heat. That's an interesting timing to use a timeout there. But regardless, the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week, sponsored by Tennessee Heat Athletics. Visit TennesseeHeatSports.com. Dr. Sterling Foster, visit drsterlingfoster.com for all your digestive issues and chiropractic needs. Chuck Miner Homes, visit Chuck Miner Homes for the best home deals in Middle Tennessee. And by Symmetry Financial Group's Daniel Hoffmeister, safety for your family.
And they're going to punch it in with Whitaker.
2-point conversion attempt. Whitaker try to punch it in, and he's in.
I'm buying a lottery ticket tonight. Prediction machine's pretty good. I'll take that 50% odds.
You know, you keep saying that anytime you get a good prediction. You keep saying you're going to buy a lottery ticket. I haven't seen that yet. When are you actually going to purchase that lottery ticket?
I'm not going to let you see the lot of winning lottery tickets.
No,
Spence.
I didn't say see the winning lottery ticket. I'm asking when are you actually going to purchase it?
I purchased them without you knowing about it. Spencer,
Did you actually?
This is interesting. You might want to add 2 more points to there.
Of course.
But this is interesting. Being down by 3, 3:52 to go in the third. Now, if it's 3:52 to go in the fourth, it's really interesting. But it is interesting here in the third. So you got a lot of time, but all you got to do is kick a field goal.
We talked about the Tennessee Heat stretch. For 11 straight weeks, they have played games.
It's
no
Iron
bye
Man
weeks,
football.
No bye weeks, nothing, because they
Well-
picked up that. They were going to have a bye week in week 3, but they picked up a game against Ezel Harding.
And then they get in the playoffs.
No
We'll go
buys.
to 12 weeks.
12 weeks or 13, maybe even 14, maybe.
They could play every week of the season, including the Jamboree. Some teams need to take note of that determination and dedication.
Or maybe take note of that controlled chaos. As Mangrum tries the return, gets stuffed at the 17-yard line.
Yeah, he didn't return that very well.
Didn't get a good return there, and it's reversed again.
They got the ball.
Tennessee Heat, they got the football. Let me get the backside of that replay there. Didn't even see that they had a reverse, but we'll see what we got here. This is the backside here, and
ball popped out as he was
popped
going down to the ground. He was going for a suplex city, and the ball popped out, and he got him.
So now the Tennessee Heat having motivation on their side with 3:45 left to go.
Mangrum's coming out. Mangrum's a little banged up, having to get helped off the field. Could be cramps. We'll see. We'll see if we can keep you all updated on that.
Yeah, hopefully Mangrum, nothing too serious. Of course, we saw that injury from last night with Adam Hubble from Franklin Christian. As far as we know, it was just a sprained neck. He did not have anything with a sort of concussion or anything worse. So everything should be good to go in that regard. There's a push up the middle. Looks like a second down. Second down for the Tennessee Heat. They're making sure to keep it close here. As about 3 minutes left to go in the third. The Tennessee Heat, after recovering the fumble on the kickoff return, trying to get a touchdown here on 2nd and 5. Here's another reversal, and brought down way back in the backfield is Josh Hackle, a big play made by the Franklin Classical School defense. And what was a 2nd and 5 is now about a 3rd down and 12.
They were all over that one. They read that one. They read that one like I read the Little House on the Prairie books growing up, a whole lot.
You never mentioned you read Little House on the Prairie.
I was homeschooled. All homeschoolers read Little House on the Prairie.
That's a stereotype, if I ever heard one.
I'm a part of it. It's not a stereotype if I'm saying I was a part of it. Good butch, though.
You look at Franklin Classical School's schedule down the stretch. They have 3 bye weeks throughout the season. They're just coming off of a bye week after playing the Ezel Harding Eagles on August 30th. They got a tough stretch of games going ahead. Whether they get a W, and the ball's loose. The recovery is by number 34, Jonah Rorchi.
Whitaker was he was anticipating getting away from the line so much. I think they kicked the ball.
It looks close, but Rorchi got it.
It was no, it hit him. It hit Diaz's butt. I mean, I'm sorry to say that, but it did. And then the ball goes loose. Now the Knights are deep in their own territory. They got a ways to go, but you also got a lot of clock to burn.
With the Knights making that recovery, it is a good turner, especially with the Heat being down by 3. Right side, here's Lott. And almost looked like he may have had the ball pop out there. Looked like Luchtefeld almost popped it out.
He almost coughed it up. Good job holding on, though.
And looking down the stretch, of course, for
No, that wouldn't have been Luchtefeld, Spencer. That would have been Brandon Smith.
Looks like Brandon Smith on there. But looking down the stretch for the Classical Knights, they've got a tough road ahead of them. They have 6 days to recover and travel on the road to face off against the Colts of Christian Community. Then they host Lancaster, and then they host St. Andrews Swanee before they have a bye week, and then host on Thursday Franklin Christian Academy. So really tough stretch for them. Intercepted! Josh Hackle with the pick. And the turnovers ratio in this game, if we had a statistician on board, it would be insane.
There was more air in that throw than there were. There was a lot of air in that throw. Now, they might have hit Hubbard on the backside of the play. You talk about a rainbow. That was like a double rainbow.
And we'll get the call from Perkins. He has the rest of the story for us. Personal foul against the defense. Is that Classical keeps it. So even though it was an interception, Classical keeps it. That's a lucky break for the FCS offense.
But if you're the Heat, you know that you can hang with these guys. But you still got to work on your snaps. Jonah Rorchi has struggled. I don't know. Hang on. I don't know that he's the center. Might be 55, who is Elijah Jones. I want to see who lines up at center there. Yep. No? Yep. It's Jones, who is actually a 8th grader.
First and 10. Lott gets the reception. Gain of about 9 yards for 2nd and 1.
No, he's a freshman, rather. He's a freshman.
Elijah Jones, a freshman. Both 55s on both sides of the ball are wearing number 9. Or excuse me, wearing number 55. Both of them are centers, and both of them wearing 55. So now on 2nd down and 2, the Knights trying to continue to push down the field. You know, it's really interesting, especially for the Knights. You know, you wonder, it affects teams differently, but you wonder if this bye week after facing off against Ezel Harding was a huge impact on them. And at least seeing here with the Knights, they're managing to stay in the game very well.
Well, definitely put some wear and tear on you.
High snap, and Lott gets stuffed by the Heat defense. Looked like Carter Sutton was in the mix there.
Almost looked like the ball came out on the backside.
Maybe on the backside there was a whistle being blown. And the clock will wind down as we reach the end of the 3rd. 12 more minutes to play. We're headed right down to the final stretch. A 3-point lead for the Knights over the Heat. And the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week is brought to you by International Fire Protection Incorporated. Life safety is our business.
Yes, sir.
Grow, Live, Give. Visit growlivegive.com. Star Physical Therapy, your health, our hands, choose Star. And by Kingdom.com, the ministry technology provider. Start of the 4th quarter, only 12 minutes left in this Saturday night primetime 8-man football game. Spencer Thompson and James Shannon proud to bring you every bit of the action here from Fred Lane Field in Franklin, Tennessee. Just across the way is Jim Warren Park, where the Franklin Christian Academy Falcons play, as Salstrom gets a big first down and a lot more down to about the 38-yard line. And Salstrom just one of the major players for the Knights to keep him in this ball game.
Well, that was a saucy run right there, but couple all-stars in on the play. Diaz and Salstrom got to know each other last year, and Diaz with the tackle. Yes, that was a dad joke, just to cut the tension.
As a man who has Italian heritage, I take offense to that.
Well, his nickname is Saucy, Spencer.
Toss on the right side. Catch is made
catch
by
by
Josh
Austin.
Austin. Almost weaved out the defender there. Josh Hackle had to make a big play on Austin.
That's how you use Josh Austin. Put him out there. Throw him the ball. See what he can do. Kind of like our guy Joe Graves with highbodyinsurance.com. Just see what he can do. Give him a chance.
There have been a lot of passes towards the end zone. They've been as deep as the deep dish over at Jets Pizza.
Still not as good as the BLT Pizza, which
still pushing to bring
Jets
back.
Folks, if you're listening,
why don't you talk to our
bring it
contact
back.
over at Jets Pizza, ask him to bring it back. You should text him sometime.
I'm pretty sure he knows.
I'm sure he knows it already. Here's Salstrom again. Gain of about a yard on the play, 2nd and 9.
It looks like Hackle was able to wrap him up there on the backside, bring him down before too much of a gain. About a 2nd down and 7 here, Spence. 10.5 minutes to go.
Now you wonder for Classical, of course, because they're leading by 3. They get another score here that can, make it. That'll make it a 2-possession game. But you wonder here is a goal for the Knights here to run down the clock and give the Heat less time to score.
Well, you definitely want to run the clock down as much as you can. I mean, that goes without saying.
Toss around the middle. The catch is made. Coverage by Brandon Smith, and big catch made by Clay Lott.
What a great catch for Lott. Delivering right when they needed it. Austin still trying to work that cramp out of his leg.
Moving the chains again for a first down in the red zone. Classical leads by 3, chance to make it a lead by 9. And the Heat fans are starting to get vocal, and getting some more vocality from the Knights.
It's a big word, Spence.
Sahlstrom, he hands it off the ball.
It wasn't loose. Sahlstrom still had the ball. That's not the kind of play Classical needed to run right there. I love to call confusion on the play.
Second down and 13.
Hey, listen, if you're not following us on Instagram, what are you doing? But for real, though, we're at 698 followers, so.
We're close to 700.
So
we need
close.
1,000 on our
close I can taste it.
For those watching, we need 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. Toss across the middle, almost intercepted by Brandon Smith. He had the opportunity to turn it over.
Spencer, if they can't do something here on third down, this is the second drive of the game that they are within striking distance and cannot convert. And that's a huge negative. You can't continue to do that.
Classical controlling their own destiny in this game at this point with a third down and 13. Knights fans staying silent from the stress. Toss right side, Hubbard intended. The catch is made just short of the goal line. Big reception by Sahlstrom.
What a catch for Saucy, man. Making his big brother proud. And he's only a junior. We get the replay, Spence.
I actually didn't get it on that, but a big diving catch by Sahlstrom. First and goal on about the 1 yard line, so another set of downs for the Knights to work with.
Well, a touchdown moves us to a 2-score game, Spence.
And especially with just over 8 minutes left to go in the game. This defensive stand has to happen for the Heat, and Lott gets into the goal line. And
no, maybe it did.
Did they make the stand just short? Second down.
Wow.
Looked like Lott had gotten it in there, but second down.
Second and inches for the Knights.
Must have gotten a lot of practice at Thanksgiving doing all that stuffing.
Second and goal, and Sahlstrom gets in for a touchdown.
It's a big touchdown. I mean, every touchdown's big, but that's a big touchdown.
Make that a 9-point game, chance to make it 10 as you see on the replay here. Just Sahlstrom handed the ball and managed to walk his way in almost entirely untouched.
All set up by a great pitch and throw and catch. Pitch and catch. Game of catch, whatever. All set up right there.
Pitch to the right side to Clay Lott. Can he get to the goal line? Stretches out and in. So an 11-point game now. The Tennessee Heat have to respond with 7:44 left to go in the fourth. 7:44 left to go in the game. The Knights lead by 11, and we're going to have to see how the Heat respond to that touchdown. It's reception.
Aiden Diaz has had some good returns.
Aiden Diaz
Not
not having a
this
good
one.
return on that one. About
Boy,
to the
it's-
35-yard line.
From now on, whenever it's raining hard outside Spence, I'm going to say that it's raining. It's raining bugs at Fred Lane Field. It's bad.
Yeah, the Bugs, remember these from 2017. It's just because we're right under a spotlight, and the Bugs like to rain down on
It
something
can't be
that's
just
shiny.
for them. Well, folks, get in, sit down, shut up, buckle up, and hang on. Here you go, 7.5 minutes.
7:37 left to go in this game.
I think you can see Brandon Smith really be given a chance to prove himself here. Kind of a quiet season so far, but he's someone who's stepped up.
Fake handoff. Goolsby left side going to his receiver. Almost. It could have been an interception there by Mangrum.
Looking for Sutton. That looked like another miscommunication. He thought it was a handoff. Rudder thought it was a play action. I didn't know what was going on, so just had to take their word for it.
Tennessee Heat facing a 2nd and 10. Again, they have to score on this drive to be able to reasonably stay within the game, regardless of how early they score or not.
Boy, Spitzer, it's going to be great tomorrow. Extreme Radio, 4 o'clock on our YouTube channel.
Highlight a recap of this game and the other games that happened in the weekend, and
Throw hit the
incomplete.
ground. Yep. You got to rainbow the throw on that screen. You got to just arc it just right.
And linesman,
And couldn't get it on that one.
linesman David Connors in perfect position to make that call as well. 3rd and 10.
You have to do it just right.
Especially for the Heat, that's exactly what has to happen on 3rd down. On the 35-yard line, the Heat with their backs against the wall. Goolsby, he's got trouble. Down to
Down
the
he goes.
28-yard line, sacked, and now you're on 4th down.
Ernie McKinnon coming back for his first game of the year and grabs the sack there with Jonah Rorchi. And we're going to have a timeout by the Heat.
The Heat
You gotta
call
regroup.
another timeout. This is either their 2nd or 3rd timeout.
It's their second.
Their 2nd, so crucial timeout down the stretch.
All right.
6:46 left to go. Looking at the wrong time.
Oh, these cowbells.
7:13 left to go in the game. The cowbell is strong with the Knights sideline. And movement.
Oh,
Is
they
that an
got him.
offside? I believe that's an offsides. Yep, they're calling it on the defense.
It might be encroachment.
False start called on the offense.
Wow.
I'm sorry. That will be a false start on the offense.
Looked like one of the officials motion for offside that pointed towards Classical.
All right, so you got a 4th down and 20.
And the noise is strong here on the Knights side of the
That's what
fan
happens
base.
when you got metal bleachers. You could do that.
Metal bleachers and metal cowbells.
They're going to go for it, Spence. Here's your ball game. That's my new favorite phrase.
We know. 10 seconds. 4th down. Goolsby scrambles. Deep toss on the right side intended for Josh Hackle. Incomplete.
I think Hackle might have wanted that pass interference call. He's not going to get it. Classical. You put in, if you've got a, this isn't baseball, but if you've got a closer, put in your closer right now.
So now it's 7-0.
How about that for Hubbard? I've really been impressed with these two quarterbacks tonight. They did a good job. They didn't lose the game. Both have made mistakes, but it wasn't a wow. This is rough kind of night for either one of them. That's a big win for Classical, though.
Yeah, so
and for the Heat,
they punched one more touchdown in here.
For the Heat, you gotta wonder. You really don't need this kind of loss when you're looking at potentially getting a playoff spot. This is a bad loss to have, even though it doesn't affect.
There's a lot. Loss of about 5.
Big stop by Whitaker there. Well, and I take that back. It's not a loss. It's not a loss.
Not officially. But another touchdown by Classical, and that'll make it seem even more impossible. Now about 2nd down and 17. Coach Ryan Scott, going into his 3rd season, is 8-14 overall, at least going into the year, with the Tennessee Heat taking 4 losses and 1 win. That's a 9-18 record thus far, and with another loss, it'll be 9-19. Right, flag in the backfield as several Heat players bring down Solstrand.
Let's see what we're gonna get. It's on Classical. He was asking the Heat. Chop block.
Call that on the offense.
They're going to decline it, though. They're going to keep the sack, bring up a big 3rd down.
Make that a 3rd down and 15.
Heat can still get back in this game. 6 minutes. So you only got a timeout, so you have to make some plays. But right here.
So correction, 3rd down and 20. So this stop here.
It is 3rd down and 20.
Very big.
Need a big throw here from Hubbard. But they're going to let that clock wind down just a little bit.
Try to shave off some time there and stoppage, I believe, it delay a game or maybe a false start. The call.
False start.
Move it back another 5 yards.
That's big for the Heat. That's a 3rd and 25.
And if they can make the stop here for 2 plays, that's better field advantage for them.
Well, if they can make the stop on the first play, honestly, I think you try a chip shot punt. I'm just saying.
It's going to be interesting.
My opinion's not worth much, but that's my opinion.
3rd down and 25.
I need 26 cents. Penny for my thoughts and a quarter to call someone who cares.
3rd down and a quarter of the field. Solstrand, deep toss right side. Solstrand catches it.
Josh
big play by
freaking
Sam Hubbard.
Solstrand. What a catch.
Big reason for the cowbells to be going crazy.
Second catch of the night. That was just ridiculous. That's a massive 1st down. How about Hubbard airing that ball out, putting it up there, and just giving Solstrand a chance to get to it? If he didn't, it's not Hubbard's fault. It's not. He had to put the ball right there, and Solstrand made the catch. They could punch it in here and really put the icing on the cake.
One of the many big plays that the Knights needed to make in order to get a...
It'd be some heavy icing, too.
And flag coming from the backfield. It's another false start on the offense.
Move it back 5.
Oh, make that a
So
still
still
a first and goal.
Yeah, still first and goal.
Classical knocking on the door of the end zone, trying to get another touchdown here. Pitch out to Salstrom, left side, got a flag down, and it would be second down and goal on the 2-yard line, but we got a flag in the backfield from Perkins.
It's on Classical.
Looks like they're pointing towards because they're communicating about a decline penalty or not. So a holding call on Classical. It's just penalties. Again, we need a statistician at some point, but you wonder the amount of penalties that have occurred for the Knights tonight.
A lot of flags last night.
A lot of flags out in Fayetteville and a lot of flags on both sides of the ball here. Cruz keeping it fair. Here's Lott going up the middle, right side. Lott to the end zone. Touchdown for Classical.
That's big. That's a statement score right there.
He carries it to the end zone for a touchdown. Amazing blocking by the Knights.
Just another great score and Lott getting to the edge. And now Classical just putting a final bow on tonight's second win gift.
Look at Hubbard.
Hubbard gets it in the end zone, another 2-point conversion, 41-22. The Tennessee Heat down by 19, and the cowbells are ringing. .350 left to go in the game, and it's off of the foot of one of the Heat players, shaves 5 seconds off the clock, and we'll see if the Heat can respond, but we're down 19 with 3:45 left to go. It's looking like the game is essentially wrapped up here.
Couple big drives, big plays. Josh Salstrom has really exploded here tonight.
Another man who has exploded is Coach Matthew Herrera, the new head coach for Classical going into this season. Of course, they got their big win at home against the Bowling Green Warriors. Started out the season 1-0, but now it's looking like they're going to 500 at 2-2, and down the stretch, this is going to be a big motivational win for Classical.
Spencer, how about this? He used to play at Texas A&M.
He was at Texas A&M and used to be there, and he's assisted by the head coach from last year, Seth Witherington. Got several assistants, of course. Former 8-Man Extreme color commentator Isaiah Austin on the sideline, getting hyped as he always is.
Well, he's got a big collection of former players that have really wanted to come back out and hang around the team and help out where they can.
And Perkins talking with Coach Herrera about the penalty with the flag on the field and holding against the Heat. It's declined. And
Penalty is declined.
now second down, so clock continues to run as the Heat are just winding it down here.
Well, it was 25-22 to start the fourth. Classicals had a massive 7 minutes.
And, you know, you have to look again. We talked about it earlier in the broadcast, but with the Tennessee Heat, I think fatigue may have an issue of small mistakes like that with Goolsby. So he gets a big gain. Big gain, just short of the first down marker for a 3rd down and 1. I think I may have jinxed it there. But you wonder about, with their stretch of 11 games total, possibly 12 if they make the wild card spot.
It has to wear on you a little bit. It really does. I like it. I like Ironman football. It's how it used to be, but it does wear on you.
I mean, the good news for them, at least with this game, because of them playing against Lighthouse, they did have 2 extra days of rest.
Exactly.
And but they have the Heat, at least they have 6 days to turn around and play Riverside. Then, of course, they get a 8-day break before they play Bowling Green Christian on a Saturday, and then 6-day break until they play against South Haven. So it fluctuates in between the amount of times they're getting breaks and such, but it's just down the stretch. It's very close.
Somebody moved.
And movement, they rule the play dead, it looks like.
There's going to be a false start.
Just a false start there, and I think it's clear the microphone needs to be in the referee's pocket, or we just need a steeper incline for the lapel mic, because it's only when it's facing the direction of it because of the.
It's good practice, though. Good practice for the official to get used to wearing it and turning it on and off.
Even though, of course, that's the first time Perkins has been mic'd up. The rest of the officials here, Larry Tidwell, David Connors, they've both been mic'd up. We had Tidwell, I think this season he's done 3 games where he's been the Whitecap. And another flag. Another false start.
Hackle on the far side. Hackle couldn't stay still. They're going to get Hackle
down
for
to
it.
12. So again, it's this kind of, it's these kind of plays are what's been killing both teams all night. I mean, of course, Classical's leading by 19, but it's things like that with penalties on both sides. It's what's been killing them.
Yeah, but it's all about who can recover from them better, and Classical's recovered better all game.
Turnover on downs here, even though it's 3rd down, but big defensive stand is what's needed for Classical. Goolsby, left side, almost a one-handed interception by Mangrum.
What a try at the snag. It's 4th down now. It's 4th down. These metal bleachers gonna be rocking. Cowbells will be going. Hands will be clapping.
So on a 4th down,
I think that's all the noisemakers.
Time to put on the coaching cap, James. 4th down and 12 here. If you're Ryan
take this
Scott,
coaching cap back off.
If you're on the sideline and you're Ryan Scott, what's the plan here to try and convert this on 4th and 12?
You're gonna be like Andy Minio. You're gonna be shoot my shot. They're gonna come in hot.
Very unspecific of you. Congratulations.
No, you're gonna shoot your shot. You're going deep on this one. You're going to Hackle on the right side of the line.
There's the specificity. 4th down. Goolsby under pressure, left side, incomplete.
Almost. Tried it to Aldred. Nothing doing. This Classical crew has been waiting for this moment right here.
They've been waiting for their 2nd win, and it's big for them, especially going to Christian Community next week. They needed this W for a motivational factor.
For the Heat, got a big game against Riverside that they have momentum as well. So both teams about to hit some immovable objects, but Classical's going to pick up momentum tonight and head into next week with a little more confidence.
Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, head over to Instagram for the post-game show. We'll get the post-game huddle with all the team members of the Heat and Classical. We'll get an interview with the victorious coach, Matthew Herrera. His 2nd win as head coach of the Knights, and looking potentially for win number 3 down the stretch.
Well,
3 and maybe
They
more.
might not have lost a divisional game, or they might not have won a divisional game, but they beat 2 North opponents. And potentially the 2 opponents that are playing for 3rd place in the North.
true.
That just shows you how strong the South is. Even a bad team from the South can beat a team in the North that's going to be in the playoffs.
You even look at that as well for Classical down the stretch. It's that feasibly, if they were to win their last 3 games, Lancaster, Swanee, FCA, they take 2 losses, they would be in the playoffs. If they take they'd be 3-2 in the South.
They can beat Swanee, and they can beat FCA.
But of course, if they don't get that victory over Lancaster, then they are effectively eliminated from the postseason.
2 and 3,
contention. It would be 2 and 3, which would be unfortunate.
Because
for
what
them,
Riverside
every
sits
team
at,
gets to have hope.
Riverside sits at 1 loss right now, 2 and 1, or 3 and 1.
They are
rather.
3 and 1 with that victory last night against FCA.
Yeah.
So they only have 1 South game left. But even with the 3-2 record, they have the tiebreaker over Classical and Franklin Christian and Swanee.
Riverside doing some work behind the scenes.
But of course, with Swanee, unfortunately, we'll talk about it on Extreme Radio tomorrow. But with Swanee forfeiting to Ezel Harding, they are officially eliminated from the playoffs. Second down. Second down at 6. It's Salstrom to the outside. It's another first down.
Number 2, Joshua Salstrom on the carry.
And time as we've got a Heat player slow to get up. That's Diaz.
Looks like some cramping issues against Alstron and Diaz. They know each other.
Yeah, know each other from the All-Star game, but an injury time out here in Franklin. Good news is for Elijah Diaz is that he's heading over to the sideline, but he is hobbling on one leg.
Yeah, I don't know if that was cramp, Spence.
I'm just hoping it's nothing serious. It's the important thing, especially for the Heat down the stretch when they have 2 more North games they have to play.
Number 2, just gave your Knights a first down.
Spence, you got to wonder what Christian community and Riverside are thinking watching this ball game and seeing the product both these teams put on the field tonight. I think if you're Riverside, it's a very winnable game next week. If you're Christian community, I still think you think it's a winnable game, but you have to allow for certain players, guys like Salstrom and Josh Austin.
It's going to be tough down the stretch for both teams. Said it multiple times, but they got some tough opponents ahead of them. Clay Lott, the big play and first down in the red zone as they move the chains.
Yeah, they're not going to tap the brakes at all. The standard this year, if you're going to win a ball game, you score 50 points. They want to get as close to that as they can.
1:45 left to go, and Classical is going to get their 2nd win of the year. It's a huge motivational factor for them going up to White House next week against the team that has clinched home field advantage to the playoffs already. We'll talk about that on Extreme Radio at 4 p.m. tomorrow. It's now 1st and 10 on about the 17-yard line.
Gotta let that clock wind down. Watch that back judge. There's the arm up. Time to snap it. Victory formation.
And
you're going to get one more snap.
One more victory formation, and the Heat fought for sure. Only a loss by 19 points, but they had a lot of fight in them for this one.
Well, and it's it's one that you take into account. You pack up, you head back to Mount Juliet. Mount Juliet.
Get prepared for hosting Riverside next week.
Mount Juliet. That's how you say it, Spence. Keep it sportsmanlike here, boys. You for sure want to be careful. You got to snap it here.
Final snap
Knights
of the
have been
game.
waiting for this for a long time.
Put another W for the Knights in their rivalry with the Tennessee Heat, 41-22, the final score here from Franklin Classical. We're going to head down to the field for the postgame report. Thank you very much for tuning in to the Kingdom.
I want to get some of this line,
Game of the
Spence.
week.
Let's kill the volume. I want to get some of this line here.